Hello, welcome back to Blender Sushi Live Noding. In this episode, we're gonna try to kind of build something like this. This is like a video tutorial I saw last night, and I was looking at it. Okay, this was built using Animation Nodes add-on in Blender, and we actually built this setup really nicely. Kind of like the X-Men's characters when changing the scale. I really like this effect actually. I've been trying to make something like this, and I tried to rebuild it using SquareChalk, and I actually figured out a couple of things. So in SquareChalk, you can of course build the scale, everything procedurally, and I tried to set it up as efficient as possible. I started actually using Icosphere at some point, but then I realized it's actually not a way to go. I need to build it in a way that the scale can actually follow the normal and maybe the UV of the objects at some point. It's actually kind of tricky, but once you get it, it's not that hard. This is how I started with. So I built the leaves and all the scale procedurally using SquareChalk, and it's a little bit might be a little bit strange because I'm using line and kind of like lofting the line, things like that. Um, it's kind of like a way to make a leaf that I did in the past. This is something similar to that. I'm using this is a range of number between 0 to 2 pi, which is like the whole like if you are using sine wave or cosine, it's like the whole wave. And then I kind of and that kind of pipe it into piping the number, and kind of I used it to duplicate a line, and then I'm lofting the line so I get this leaf kind of surface, and we can do something more with that with the leaves. But the point here is that uh, if you have like in the past, I've been using Icosphere and making like a spike using cone. That's actually very easy to do already. But in this case, it's not a spike. It's more like a leaf. And of course, this is more like a scale for like a creature scale. I think normally it has some kind of directionality. So um, in the normally you would just use like a texture mapping, and when you're mapping like a fish scale texture into a surface, 3D surface, especially, you need to aware of the UV direction. So that's actually something that I realized I need to understand really well. So I've been using Icosphere, but Icosphere is not actually, it's not a good idea to use Icosphere, and because it gets confusing when we are using vertex normal and try to figure out the direction of the leaves. So I decided to use a cylinder that it's starting to make sense. And with cylinder, instead of it just like using the vertex points to instance the leaves, I'm using the polygon face normal. So here I'm using the center vertex or calculate normal. This node can calculate the face normal and vertex normal. Vertex apparently with vertices, it's kind of tricky to get the up directions. So again, we are dealing with like this thing like up directions, aim directions, and things like that. You know, it gets pretty tricky for orientation. Sometimes I still have to like use more brain processing. But anyway, it seems to be working so far. So I'll explain again from the bottom. Here I'm using this 2 pi to make a range of number. This thing I'm piping in so that I can get some kind of like a wave kind of um, number pattern, or yeah. And then I kind of loft it. Anyway, it's become like a leaf, and all these make a leaves up to here, UV connections, and then I'm using the instancing down here based on the cylinder. So maybe I don't need all this. I'm just gonna tidy up a little bit. So in reality, the one that's really doing the hard job is this matrix in. but everything is working nicely together. So this guy is really just the actual how we're gonna place the scale. So I'm gonna put it there, and it's based on the cylinder object at the moment, but can be Suzanne at some point, hopefully. With Suzanne, it's gonna be a little bit trickier, I guess, because with the orientation and stuff, and then you start to think, okay, this is kind of similar to hair simulations. With hair, you can probably get some kind of directionality, how the hair falls into the surface, and then you have that that hair info that you can use. Anyway, this is like the cylinder, and I think the unit size I'm using is pretty high, so I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger, maybe 20. Okay, 20. So if imagine if it's like a fish scale. Currently, it looks like a leaf. I should have made something that's more like a scale. So again, this guy, there's a bit funny number here, -180, but this one actually control this the pivoting. I realized maybe my pivot is a bit wrong as well. Actually, no, not too bad. At least we can get this kind of motions, you know. Oh yeah, I think the pivot is wrong because it's not where I want it to be. Maybe I need to kind of move the leaves here. Move and rotate. Okay, move. If I'm not wrong, I set it up so the leaf is facing in the X direction. So yeah, I think that's more like it. Okay, see the pivot is wrong. Probably move it in the wrong directions. That's a little bit better. Really, I should have draw the cylinder. So cylinder, center polygons, calculate normal. Tricky stuff. Okay, now it's much clearer. Let's make the cylinder smaller. So for each polygon of the cylinder, the center, we're gonna generate this leaf coming out of the center, and then we hopefully can have control over the directionality. So this is exactly what's happening. Seems to be working pretty good, and we can control this flipping of the scale. Okay, so I think this is pretty clear. I think I'm pretty happy with this. Can be improved, definitely, but it's pretty good for now. Oh, okay, I realized this actually still has a little bit of issue with that pointing the wrong way. Maybe I need to rotate it somewhere here, or maybe I can fix it from here. No, I think it's pretty tricky. We need to aim it properly. Need some kind of a way to do that. But glad I found this out. So 180 is the normal, correct normal, and we can kind of twist it. With this example, actually, Vit is using some kind of bend modifier, so it has like a more natural look to it. That's actually really nice. I really recommend you to watch this video. Try using animation nodes and to do that. And here I'm really try to make sense of this, the normal pointing out of the surface and using the points, and then to instance this leaf, and then I want to make sure the leaves can actually follow the directions of the normal. And yeah, it's tricky stuff. If you know anything about it, if you can make modification and help me, I'll greatly appreciate it. I think I'm just gonna leave it here. Thanks again for tuning in. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.